Alright, this week we have Oulton Park in the Lopen F2 cars, and we're going to start in the pits, just like every other week. It's actually a really easy exit on the pits. Not super safe, but it's just really easy. So you can actually kind of just lift for the turn, and then we're just going to be looking at our relative, and then look behind. No one's coming, and we're on the circuit. It's really easy as it is. The only thing you have to really be careful is make the turn, and then make sure you slow down. Oh, that's a terrible turn. Make sure you slow down for this turn, because it's really easy. Just try and send it for the turn and then end up in that wall. That's it. And then we'll start at the start finish line. So starting lap at Oulton Park, I believe short this week. We're through the start finish line, no big deal. And then braking point for the first turn is actually just before this sign over on the left. Just before or at, depending on what car you're in. Harden the brakes, try not to lock up. If you do, it's nothing in the world. Just get off the brakes and then flutter to make sure you get as much braking potential. You're going to be in third gear for most cars, depending on your gearing. And then you're going to apex right around here. And then carry out to the left. It's okay if you go over the curve, actually, because there's actually this like cobblestone-ish stuff over here, which is just as grippy as the racetrack, but try and stay on the track. It's actually a little bit more grippy and a little bit easier to stay on this race. Then we're going to go up to the next turn. In the lap I'm going to include, I don't actually take it correctly, but you want to stay tight in the exit to set us up for the following turn. So the brake point is actually going to be right before this Dunlop sign. We're going to do a slight tap of the brakes, not hard, slight tap of the brakes to get the nose down and grip to do a really tight turn, and then it'll float us out as we power out. And then we're going to brake hard here at the transition to get us down into second gear for this turn, which we're going to hard apex onto this. We can take as much as we want, really. Then we're going to float out here, power as much as we possibly can as early as possible to make it through this turn. And then this turn is actually where I found a lot of my time. We're going to go wide onto this curb over here, and then dive into this. We're going to take as much in aggression as possible over here, because this part exists right here. So we can cut into this asphalt here, use all of this for grip, and just keep powering through the turn. I think I picked up about 0.3 to half a second just by being able to carry all of this speed instead of taking it in a normal turn. This section coming up, there's actually a couple different lines we can go through. My personal favorite is go out to this little curbing out here and then make it up the hill, clipping kind of towards the inside. You don't really have to clip the total inside. And then setting up on the outside for the following turn, because this braking zone's probably the hardest for me personally on this track. I straighten up and then start braking on the rumble strip to the left. The reason is, if you blow through this braking zone, it's actually quite difficult to save yourself. There is a little bit, and I'll show you in a second. So, rumble strip on the left, brake hard, get down into third gear for this turn, and really want to focus on hitting this apex and then going wide for the next turn. But what's nice is if you slide out, there is, again, this little cobble brick stuff as in the first turn, and I've saved myself a couple times over there, but it's not something you need to rely on. Again, then we hit this next apex, and then we can carry all that speed as possible out to this rumble strip. Rumble strips also saved me a couple times because it's, as you can see, super bumpy and kind of grippy. Powering out to the straight, we're going to carry as much speed as possible. And then it's going to be another hard braking zone, trying not to lock up our brakes. Best spot I've found on this one is just right before, again, this sign on our left, the turning sign on our left. You can sort of beat it a little bit and go a little bit at or just after, but most consistent I found is just at or just before that sign. So we're going to hard brakes down into second gear this time. And we're going to kind of late apex this so that we can power out and have our car float out to here. I will say be careful. It's really easy to get your car to float out and onto the grass, and then you'll lose either a bunch of time or just totally slide out or spin, dipping the back tire and just doing a full 360. And then we're just almost at the start-finish line again. We'll end up somewhere around here if we're on that same line. But as you can see, the whole racetrack's pretty much wide, and this is probably where a lot of passing is going to be done because we have such a wide exit and people will be on most likely different lines. So if you can get a tow or if you can get a better exit on someone, this is probably going to be the best spot because this whole thing is wide enough to go for a pass. And then start finish line's right here. And then again, if you're on a different line, you might be able to take a slightly different braking point and then go for an undercut or go a little bit wider on someone, like if they have the inside line, and force them to tighten up. But yeah, it's a really short track, or the layout that we're doing is really short. It's really quick if you can keep it. It's going to be, I think I'm going to include a 101.5, but that's not really clean. In the stable Ferrari tune that Jack posted for the Lopen Formula 2's. Yep. So it's going to be really quick track, really fun. Hope to see you out there on Sunday. Hopefully in the 101s, because I think that's going to be the fun spot.